Hi everyone, my name is Pranoti. I'm your host of Under the Microscope, and today we are opening the season 6 of Under the Microscope. Make sure that you have hit the subscribe button on YouTube if you're watching this, and if you're listening to the podcast, then make sure to follow the Under the Microscope podcast. This is absolutely for free. You don't have to do anything, and your support means a lot to us. Let's get started with the season 6 of Under the Microscope. Woohoo! Today, we have with us Doris Reiter, who is a group leader at TU Dortmund University, which is in Germany. And she's leading the group, or her research is all about super quantum, which is super cool, pun intended. But we will go into the details of what super quantum is and what she's doing and everything. But before that, welcome, Doris. Lovely to have you on Under the
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for your time. It's to be very honest, it feels a bit weird because we spoke like a few hours ago, and we have been speaking. We have been in touch and speaking for the last few months already. So this is the first time, though, that we are recording our conversation. But it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. And I finally get to know what super quantum is all about, which seems like this inside joke between you and your colleagues. And I want in, and I want all my followers and listeners to be in as well. So tell me, let's get started with understanding your research, right? So super quantum, what exactly do you do at TU Dortmund University? Please explain your research in super simple words to us, please.
So, first of all, I should say I'm a physicist. I'm a physicist by training. That's where I come from. And I'm a theorist. I think that's one thing which might be quite different from many people because most of a physicists work in the laboratory. So they go to the lab to experiments, but I sit in front of my computer every day and I really do like simulations. I run computer programs. Sometimes I actually take out pen and paper and write something down, and even nowadays solve simple equations. That's also, you get better with equations with training. So this is all of what my everyday look like, apart from all the other duties. And then what I'm interested is I'm on the bridge between solid state physics, so everything which is solid, not gaseous or like liquid, and quantum physics. So quantum physics is a really cool hype topic within the last years. I mean, it's always been super interesting. So why is quantum physics so important? When you go at the nanoscale, and I think your audience understands what nano is, I don't need to explain that.
No.
The rules we have, like what we know, how everything works out in everyday life, don't apply there anymore. But we need to use what is called quantum mechanics and the rules of quantum mechanics to describe dynamics. So everything which is moving, when something is happening. And I'm interested in how to model that. And this is not easy because we have to have new equations, and to solve, we have to have new programs, we have to write, things like that. And there are so many particles and so many interactions going on. It's quite a vibrant field, I'd say.
Oh wow, that sounds so cool. So so the rules of the real world or the macro world or even micro world do not apply to the nano world. So for the nano world, we need the quantum mechanics, the rules of quantum mechanics, and that is what you and your group does, like the theoretical aspects of it. So I feel like there is just so much that you can do. But are there do you focus on bonds? Do you focus on electrons? Do you focus on certain materials?
Yeah, so I focus on solids, as I said, crystals typically. And what
Right.
my particular field is, I want to know how these particles or how these materials interact with light. And
Ha.
when they interact with light, they're typically electrons excited and they can move around within the solid. And
Right.
I look at how they do that. And sometimes it's how we expect it from the macro world. For example, what we did, we consider if there's a trap and the electrons come close to it, can they be captured only when they're close to it, or even if they're like, maybe they can jump into the trap? And it turns out, no, it's like we know they have to be close to basically fall into the trap.
Aha. Ooh. Ooh. This is so cool. Oh, this is so cool. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. So do you then also collaborate with, experimental quantum physicists who will validate
Oh yeah,
the theory, or how does that work?
that's always a fun thing to do. So we do try to collaborate a lot. Sometimes we do something just for the sake of like trying out new theory, but
Right.
most of the time we want to do something which describes reality in the sense like you can go to a lab and try it out. So
Uh-huh.
when we come together, it sounds like we both would speak the same language because we're
Yeah.
both physicists, but
Yeah.
we don't. So
Quantum.
we really have to understand what they're talking. So
Uh-huh.
one thing we work about is something called quantum dots. These are like small little nanoparticles. And
Mm-hmm.
I've sit in hours. And so for me, it's a very simple system. I say it's just two energy levels.
Yeah.
It's either not excited or it's excited. I'm done.
Correct.
But my
Correct.
colleagues, they can talk for hours and hours about how to grow them, how to make them, what special properties they have. But then, as I said, as a theoretician, we have to make simplifications. So we have to
Correct.
understand what's important from all that for our modeling. And then
Right.
we get some results. We get some weird shaped looking funny curves. And they,
Right.
on the other hand, don't know what to do with it. What is a quantity? So we really have to see how can we model the quantities they measure? How can we model the systems they measure? And on the other hand, how can they understand our results?
Right. Oh wow. This is quite interesting. So uh, because I've been an experimental scientist, right? I don't understand, or rather help me understand, how does your lab, like what is your version of a lab? Like for me it would be a scanning electron microscope, a fabrication, blah blah blah. What is it for you? What softwares? I don't know. Tell us.
So basically, the lab is my desktop and at my like sitting my office sitting in front of there. But we also
Right.
have a full research group, so we have PhD students, postdocs, bachelor students, master students, like all of that. And it's
Hmm.
very important that we do exchange with each other.
Right.
Also, the other thing, if we want to go upscale, do have a supercomputers. So some simulations we do, they're really large. So we need to go to a supercomputer. And most
Ooh.
of the universities have like clusters of uh, computers. We also have
Right.
that in Dortmund. But
Uh-huh.
then there's also like supercomputers you can access online, and they're at very particular cities in Germany. They have even more power and more power.
Oh, okay. Okay, okay. Okay. So is it like X-rays and then there are synchrotrons? So you have computers and then you have supercomputers. Is it like that?
A
Or
little bit, a little bit. I'd say that this is a small. So if you have a program and say you want to have a simple structure, say you just want to make a small bar, that's easy. You can do on your laptop. But then maybe you want to do the bar in 3D. Then maybe it's getting complicated. And then you
right,
think the bar is not sitting in the air, but it's sitting on a substrate. Even more complicated. And maybe the bar has holes in it. Oh
right.
dear. So more complicated you get, sometimes you can use symmetries to reduce your problem. And so it is a problem to like make it everything fit into the computer. And then we
Right.
go to the supercomputers.
Okay, 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 okay. That sounds so. What kind of like are there like softwares or apps that you use? Is it like because I know Python, which is the
Yes,
coding language, but that is where my coding stops. What? Yeah.
we do both. So there are free software and commercial software packages available. You can just
Right.
download, you can put your problem in and they'll solve it.
Right.
But most of the time, we have very specific problems. So we actually do code. So we write code in Python or C++. The old people like me, they wrote in Fortran, which is a very still widely used language because it's very efficient. And
Uh-huh.
we also want to like develop when we get equations. Not all the equations are solved by the commercial solvers or the
Correct.
available solvers. So we sometimes have an equation we need to solve ourselves. So yes, then we do actually code.
Okay, okay. Oh, this is so cool. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is so cool. Okay, I promise I will stop asking
I
so
should have
many.
brought some code for you, yes.
You brought some code?
No, I didn't bring. I should have brought some
Nah,
code.
it's okay. You can show it to me when we meet in April, which no one we are not telling anyone yet. Wait till the end to know what's happening in April. Um, okay. This is really cool. So let me zoom out a bit now, Doris, and please tell me how did this like tell me about your career. How did this happen that you are now sitting in Dortmund? You're leading a group, doing the super quantum work. How did this happen? Like, please tell me about your career journey.
So, it didn't happen. I'd say they're not like big jumps. So, at some point, I started studying physics,
Hmm.
and basically, it followed the way of things. So, when I got my diploma, so that was before the bachelor masters, people still did their diploma in physics.
Correct.
I'm sure you heard about that. So this
Yeah.
was basically it's the same as the masters. I started off with my PhD,
Right.
and after the PhD, it was lots of fun. I kept on doing a postdoc, and after that, it was so much fun. I became a junior professor, and after that, I was searching for a permanent position, and then I ended up in Dortmund, where I now have a stable position, and I can like I do not need to worry about what will be my next position because it's permanent.
That is really that's yeah. That is something that it's very important. This is something that our guests have always most of the time that the stable funding or the permanent or longer term contract, some even say that just longer term contract, don't give us permanent but at least longer term, that
Yeah,
this is a good position to be in. Oh wow, okay, wow, okay. But then when you started studying physics, or when you did your diploma, why did you go down the theoretical route? Like for me it
yeah,
was okay, I wasn't even aware that there is a theoretical route so much, like I wasn't aware of it.
yeah.
But also I'm more of a mover and like doing stuff in the lab sort of a person. But how did you even give experiment? I'm gonna be the devil's advocate and say, did you give the experimental side even a chance within you, or were you all I'm kidding.
I think everybody gives both sides a chance because when we study, we
Yeah.
on the one hand have to solve like exercise problems. These are typically like solving equations, stuff like that. And on the
Right.
other hand, we also have to do lab exercises. So we have to go to the lab and do something. And for me, it never worked out there, to be fair.
Okay.
So we had
Hmm.
so many broken experiments. I felt it was more our fault because when once we entered and then everything was like, why doesn't it work? Why? And then the next week again. I never felt like that. And on the positive side, I was quite, I mean, I feel quite comfortable with equations. I think that's not also someone, everybody has this talent to look at an equation and get a feeling for it or get a good understanding of that. So I think I both honed in my skills and on the other hand avoided the things I'm not so good at. So yeah, it was quite clear to me. And also I feel comfortable sitting in my chair all day. Uh,
Hmm.
I
And
mean,
thinking and writing, yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. That is, I was just playing the devil's advocate because I find it fascinating. Because and what would
It's
have
actually a question many students come up and ask, why did you choose this or that, or how to decide that? It's a very tough question. I fully understand that.
yeah, exactly. Oh wow. Okay, that's really cool. So it as you're also now the group leader and you have masters, postdocs, blah, 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 and you have been in different labs as well. I guess you have, I'm not guessing, I'm 100% sure that you have been involved in a lot of interesting research projects or research experiments. And this question that I'm going to ask you now, it's a tough one. And I don't want you to hate me for it, but can you pick one research project that you are most proud of, or the most fun or quirky one, and explain it to me in our section called In Other Words, in super simple words? Please simplify it. One, one.
Yeah, I
One.
know one. I will one, just not two or three, but
One.
just a single one. Okay. No, no, that's it's not a tough question for me at the moment because it's a super project we're doing, and I want to explain to you what this is about. So let me first set the background. So the
Yeah,
idea is we want to do quantum communication. So there's
correct.
all these quantum technologies, maybe you've heard about that. And quantum communication is about, instead of communicating like via the telephone wire or by the optical fiber, we want to use quantum light now. So quantum light is a single photon. That's basically the smallest portion of light. And now
Mm-hmm.
all these quantum properties, which I talked about, which are now relevant, they
Mm-hmm.
come into that. They now we're gonna want to harness them. We want to make use of them. And why
Oh.
do we want to use that? Is there's a theorem which says if we do that, we have a secure communication. So if we're talking and it would be a secure line, and someone would tap in and like listen to our very private conversation, we
Mm.
would not like see that person, but we would know we would have been listened to.
Okay.
And remember all these movies which are like, I mean, you've seen Enigma, which was like all about secure communication. We now understand how important secure communication is. And the quantum communication is like one idea how to make communication super secure, like from the fundamental parts ideas of physics secure, not secure in theory. Well, it is secure in theory because then it comes all with the technical details, but
Mm.
in principle it should be super secure.
Oh, okay. But isn't it secure when we are doing the like? Are we talking? Okay, so when the internet came about,
Yeah,
that was more secure than the landline phones, right? That's what was like, yeah, okay, no one can. It's like end to end encrypted and blah blah blah. So what you're working on, the super secure, pun intended, very much,
it is a
because
different way of security. So cryptography
uh,
is like making you, I give you a key, but
yeah,
someone could take the key and like still and decrypt our messages. This
right.
is what happened a lot of time. Now the
Mhm.
secure way how to distribute it, on which way it goes, it's like there's a lot of sort of like how to make that really like 100% secure. And now instead of just, well, we still give the key, but now with using quantum mechanics, we're
Right.
really sure the key has not been copied. You can copy a regular key, so that's easy. For if it's a number of, say, it's a number of, a line of numbers, you can copy
Right.
that just with your
Right.
notebook. You
Right.
cannot do that in quantum mechanics.
Why not?
Oh, there's the theorem which is actually called no cloning theorem. We rely on that. It's more complicated than that, but
Yeah.
the idea is in quantum mechanics, there is not just zeros and ones, as you know from a classical computer, but you
Yeah.
can have everything in between. That is called a phase or a coherent superposition state.
Right.
And but the still thing is you can still just measure 0 and 1. But say it was in the middle, it was half 0, half 1. So it's 50-50. You can get one or
Right.
the other.
Right.
Yeah, that's one thing we need. Now, which 50-50 depends a little bit on how you make all that. So you can make a couple of repetitive measurements and thereby get the statistics, and you will know that instead just giving 50-50 regularly, you took a quantum 50-50. And this is
Uh-huh.
where it all relies upon. And
Right.
this
Yeah.
was the first proposal. It was given like 40 years ago. And now we're
Right.
trying to implement that, and they're more complicated of these proposals. But you cannot copy the quantum state because what measuring it, you need to destroy it. And then reconstructing it is tough.
Right. But then what if I want to go back to our conversation like two months ago, but now there is no way that I can access it
Well, you
because
have the key, I have the key, but nobody has copied it.
because it's not copyable.
Yes.
That's why the no cloning. Oh,
Ooh. Ooh.
I think the EU is going to be so happy with the GDPR. Oh, this is But then this is bad for companies who are making money off of the data, right?
Yes and no. I mean, they also want you to keep your data secure, and they basically there's a lot of research going already in post-quantum cryptography. It's not about where is the data or who has the data, but who can access it. So idea is to make it for eavesdroppers or like criminals harder to get the data.
Aha, okay.
Because a criminal right now could just go into your bag, grab the key, make a copy, take it back. They can't do that anymore.
Right, right. And also, I guess this is also Google has changed its policy with the privacy and the cookie sharing and all of that. Is this related to it, or it's like two different?
That's two different things, I'd say.
Okay, it's more about the communication. What you're working on is more about the securing the communication. Yeah. Oh, this is so cool. That's why it is super quantum, because
No, that's not why it's super quantum.
why is it super quantum? Now, come on, tell me.
Yeah, sorry, so setting the stage. So the
Yes,
idea is we need these single photons, these little bits of light to go there. That's a requirement to make all this happen, which I just told you about.
correct.
And now to get that, what we can take is what is called a quantum emitter. That can be
Okay.
an atom, and you can excite it.
Uh-huh.
And upon re-excitation, so basically it will lose its excitation, it will emit a single photon.
Right.
Cool. So now the question is how to excite it. So imagine that you want to go up in the swimming pool, you want to go up the ladder and jump in the pool. That's a similar process because you excite yourself and the pool splash is basically the single photon. You would take a ladder to go up, yes?
Yes.
And the ladder should be probably the same size as the tower, yes?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's how we do. That's what people have done before.
Uh-huh.
Now you can take a ladder which is a little bit higher. That would be okay, yes? And you can that's okay.
Yeah.
So what we do now is we take two ladders, but both are too short. See,
So you
this
go
shouldn't
up
work.
each other.
Well, you need to go up the tower.
So you put the ladders on top of each other.
Yeah, but then it would be way too high. You cannot. They're just a little bit too short. Just like you try to stretch, it doesn't work.
Okay.
So our scheme, what it is, do you know from the fair, sometimes there's these stairs which do like that. And you have to jump from one staircase to the other to get up because they're moving all the time.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
It's a similar thing we do. So basically, we attach the ladders in a smart way to each other, and you have to jump from one to the other to get up.
Oh,
that's swinging movement. So super actually is an acronym. It stands for swing up. You see SUP of quantum emitter ER population. That's an acronym.
It's swinging. Wait, I need to write this down. Swing
up.
Swing up, yeah.
Yes.
Emitter. No.
Quantum emitter.
Where is the Q?
We don't put the Q. The Q didn't fit super.
Ah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. Swing up quantum emitter.
Yes.
And the R of the oh, this is so cool.
Yeah, it is. It was very so we just published that 2 years ago, 2.5 now, and it was very unsearched for. That was very very surprising to everybody, but also very much needed to everybody. So people really went to the lab immediately after we brought it out and tried to measure it, and it worked. So this is the best thing if you're a theoretician. You propose something which you think is like totally just your mind, and then it works, and you're like, yes,
I'm the god. This is me. I'm the whatever the line was in Oppenheimer. I forgot. Ooh, this is so cool. Yeah, I can imagine why it was so easy for you to pick your favorite research project. I totally understand. Oh wow, this is so cool. And I love the example of the swimming and the ladder and everything. And I have to say, Doris, you are a really good science communicator. I have to
Thank
say
you.
that. It's
Oh, that's so
really,
nice.
it's really like I should have you more often on, which I will, on Under the Microscope and the Science Talk. But oh, this is so cool. This is so cool. Okay. So now, Doris, tell me, research is one aspect of being a scientist, right? What else do you like about being a scientist?
I like the people. I say that with a bit of hesitation because they're always nice people, and as usual, if there's a crowd, there are people you don't like so much. When I was young, my parents did folk dance. So I really
Mm,
liked that. And it was so nice. So of course they took me and my brothers with them. And what was there, basically they could go to different countries and visited same dancing people. And every time it was like you had a common ground of dancing. So it doesn't matter where you went, you were always welcomed and you could had a common ground. You could just dance with each other, yes?
yeah,
And you could
yeah.
learn from each other. And I feel physics is very much the same. So when I go to a different country, and it can be even a far away country, I feel always like there's a common ground to talk with people.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I really like that. I feel also I can connect differently with like physicists.
Uh-huh.
It's easier to do
Yeah,
so. Yeah,
yeah. Definitely. Oh, that is
yeah,
so cool. I think we
yeah.
haven't had this so far. You are the
Yeah.
first one to say this.
Oh wow.
It's
Yeah, as I
really,
said, because like physicists, they sometimes also gives the impression of like I hate to say a bit like strange people, but if
mm,
you're inside, I feel like there's a lot of support by the physics community. And,
yeah,
and if you go to conference, you can see that really you can sit down with a bunch of like I've been to a couple of conferences just on my own, but you
hmm
can sit down with people who you didn't know before that week, and you can have a conversation just flowing all the evening.
yeah. That is true. That is so true. And I love the example of the folk dance. Like it's like find the common ground, and
Yeah,
then you don't even have to do small talk. You can just dive straight in and go super quantum. Okay, tell me.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, that is so cool. That's very thoughtful. Thank you for sharing. That's a very different perspective for me as well. That's really cool. Oh wow. Okay. That's really cool. So Doris, it sounds all really like everything has been working out very well for you. I mean, of course, you work for it and you even have a permanent contract. Like hello.
Yes,
You had three wishes to improve
yes.
your research experience, what would you ask for? And I'm not promising anything here.
I know, I understand. So I still would ask for a professorship. That sounds a bit greedy, maybe, but I feel it's also about acknowledging what I have been doing so far. So that's I like. I mean, I've been applying for quite a couple of years now,
Hmm.
and I feel what is missing is a bit of luck. It's a very competitive world out there, and I'm still like, yeah, I do want to have that.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
mean, it's a very personal wish, but for me, this is something I still would like to have.
That makes sense. Understandable. Wish number
My
two.
my second wish is actually I would love to have that for very many colleagues of mine as well, because
Hmm.
I see so many talented other people, which I'm quite close to as well, who are like really are still struggling on non-permanent contracts, are
Hmm.
still like struggling to find their place, or are leaving.
Mm.
And I it really would enhance my research experience because I have so many talks about that. It's taking so much of all our time to do the applications, to worry about that. It really is consuming your mind when you're a researcher. So
Hmm.
it's tough. So what we did like a couple of years ago, this is also something we try to initiate, is that at least the people who are in the same level can connect. So we founded an association. So at least we can exchange experience. What is okay? What is like what we experience, and maybe what can we do better? What can we actually ask for, and what not? So
Mm.
it's not about me getting that. I would love to improve the system, and I would love, in particular, for a couple of colleagues to get a permanent post.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, that's really cool. I want to know more about that association after.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I would love to know more about that. That
Yeah.
is your second wish. Okay. Third wish.
I always would love to find more stuff. I mean, super was super nice, but we're always in the, like, you want to solve the puzzle, or really. I love science when it's like, we haven't talked about so much about that, but it's very satisfying to find something new, puzzling, interesting, which like really teases your brain, and like, wow. So I wish that to happen still for me, to
Uh-huh.
be fair, that I'm encountered with something new which fascinates me.
Okay. You can join the science talk. It's new and
Yeah,
fascinating.
yeah. I mean, we're always searching for that somehow, aren't we? Well, this is what research is about.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the whole reason behind the existence of the science talk is so that I can keep trying new things and like, okay, let me check this and how
Yeah, yeah.
that works. And oh yeah,
I
definitely.
fully understand. I mean, always the wish is that I would divide myself because we always wish for more time. But then
Yeah,
I thought I don't want to wish for that because probably me and me will not get along well.
that's a very good point. I don't think that will happen though, but that's a good point to think about. Um, Okay, you want a professor position. You want a professor position for a lot of talented and deserving people
Yeah.
around you. And you want a new challenge that will tickle your brain and strain your brain. And at the end of which you would be like, yes,
Yes.
I've solved this. This is like absolutely, absolutely understandable. And uh, is this the reason behind the birth of the project called Quantour?
No.
Damn it, I tried.
No, I think for me it's an important part that we uh, communicate science. I mean, like we understand why what I've talked about all today, like the quantum technologies, the quantum communication, is so important. But I feel we need to at least bring the spark of joy we have with that and the spark of interest to everybody. So at the moment, um, well, like in particular, the physics, like everybody's a little bit. I feel at the moment, the vibe is more like everything is so hard. We need to get funding. There's so much conflict happening,
Mm,
but there's also so much interesting stuff happening. I think that's one part to bring it out, and the
mm,
second reason is there are many deserving people, and I think these people need to get a spotlight as well, in particular the young people. So we do that with young people together,
mhm,
and they, because when we're in the middle of like applying, doing research, doing all that, I think getting outreach on top is too much.
mhm.
But here it's worth it because quantum is really it's a good opportunity. So we hope to hone in more of what's already going on. Jump on the wagon and just like yeah, I get my share. It turns out to be a lot of work for ourselves, but it's
Yeah.
very much rewarding, and everybody is really also very positive about that, and it's a really fun project. So having fun with science is part of the job, and we should keep doing that. And we should also say, like, look, when you become a physicist, of course you will get a job. This is a good job security. You will get a good paid job, so money is good. But the fun part, this is why you should become a physicist.
Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree more. The fun part of science, that is really, really um that's very important. And you're absolutely right. We get caught up in doing the science itself, so we tend to deprioritize outreach and the fun part of it, the joy we feel in the labs or in front of our computers, taking it out to the public. That is something that we are like, yeah, yeah, of course they know it's cool, duh.
Yeah,
But
exactly. They don't. And also, I think many people don't know how cool a life of a scientist is, in the sense we are traveling a lot. I mean, science allowed me to like travel so many parts of the world. I've been to Asia, to North America, probably more countries and continents will follow. So that's quite cool. And I think as I said, like we really connect there, and we start connecting. So just as I have the sticker which says "Science bridges cultures," which is I really wear that a lot, not for today only, because there's a lot of spirit of physics and science which resonates with me on that. Because
Mm-hmm.
when people talk, they understand each other, and they can build something. That's very cool. And um, when I had students, I once sat down with my students. It was a larger group, and I asked, "Have you ever been flying to a different country? Like not just being next door to, maybe for me it would be the Netherlands or maybe France, but really been a far travel?" Many of them said, "No, actually, no. It will be my first time on a plane." Or things like that. So it really not only enables to do physics, but also to become open-minded, worldly people. I like that a lot.
Absolutely, absolutely. I completely agree. Oh wow, this is you're so wise, Doris. You're so
Oh,
wise.
thank you. That's a attribute not many people
You're
attribute with me. Yes, weird.
Yeah, you are very wise, and I feel like, I mean, we have been in touch regularly for the last almost a year, but I feel like in the recording that we are doing now, the podcast that we are recording, I see a completely different side of you, which is it, it's amazing. It's amazing, and
Thank
I'm
you.
very happy that you're on the podcast. I'm very happy you're on Under the Microscope, and you're also going to be tweeting. Yes, I'm going to continue tweeting. I'm going to continue to say tweeting from the Real Scientist Nano Twitter account for a week, for an entire week. So can you please tell us what can the followers of the Real Scientist Nano Twitter account, which will soon become something else on Blue Sky. No, we are not saying that. What can the followers expect? The more than 3,000 followers, what can they expect?
Yeah, so I would love to give some insight into my everyday life and thoughts, and also into some of the not physics but other projects I want to do. I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So being part of a group leader is something I want to talk about. Also, like going from the other side, I have exams that week, so maybe I'll share some thoughts about how to prepare exams from the other side. To be
Yes.
honest, maybe I'm going to tweet about that again. I was so nervous before my first exam. Not the one I took, but the one I had to like ask the questions.
Oh, it's good to know that professors also get nervous.
Yeah, I mean, once you did it like 10, 20 times, it is I'm not nervous nowadays. Now it's routine. But first time I was like, oh, what am I going to ask? It's like, is that enough? So yeah, I want to give an insight in being a group leader.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to give an insight and a little bit more insight into Quantour, what we're doing there. I want to give a little bit insight in what we do with the, as I said, this association of young group leaders,
Mm-hmm.
because this is a topic which is very close to my heart, and also the German Physical Society. They help us a lot, so I want to talk about that a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll also talk a little bit about my everyday life, yay, home office, and stuff like that, and traveling. At the end of the week, I will be going to a conference, so I'll see how my mood will be. But that's all topics I'm quite interested in. And of course, if somebody wants to know about more super quantum physics, I'm happy to talk about that as well.
Absolutely. So you'll be also physics and pizza. That is also a part which you will talk about. And speaking of traveling scientists, you will be heading or getting ready to uh, attend a conference to host to chair a session, and
Yes.
then the same week you will be traveling almost across the country to give a talk at a different conference. So there is a lot that is going to happen. That, and maybe you can also take us behind the scenes of how do you prepare for giving a talk. Do you have your presentations ready already, like 2 weeks before, or are you also like a normal person, prepare them a week before?
I do have them ready when I travel, phrase it like that.
Okay, so we
I'm
want
not preparing them during travel. I have them before I set my
you.
foot out the door.
Okay, that sounds good. So a very very action packed week, I have to say. There is going to be so many topics that you're going to cover. Looking forward to having you on Real Scientist Nano for an entire week. And thank you very much for taking the time and speaking with me. My season opener of Under the Microscope, Season 6 opener. Thank you, Doris.
Thank you for having me. It was great fun chatting with you.